This one's personal. Rejection means you're not good enough. Really. And we believe that. All right, let me start with a number. 64. That's the average number of auditions a working SAG actor goes through before booking one role. 64. Bryce Dallas Howard, Ron Howard's daughter, grew up in the industry, was told that number by her grandmother and used it as her personal benchmark. She booked her first role on audition number 48 and considered herself ahead of schedule. If 64 no's for every yes means you're not good enough, then nobody in this industry is good enough, including the people who are working. And frankly, if that number scares you enough to quit, well, that just means there's less competition for me. But I'd rather you stayed. Here's something casting directors wish actors understood most of the time: you don't book. It has absolutely nothing to do with your talent. You were too tall, or too short, or you look too much like someone they'd already cast. But the director wanted different energy opposite the lead. The budget changed and they went with a local hire. The character description was rewritten after the audition request went out, assuming anyone actually read the script before writing the breakdown in the first place. Sometimes an intern writes those, sometimes an AI does, and nobody checks, which means every actor who played that breakdown exactly as written gave the same performance based on the same bad information. And the actor who ignored the breakdown, read the sides, and decided for themselves who the character was, that's the one casting remembers. And we talked about this in the Strong Choices episode, but it matters here too, because some of the rejection actors are experiencing is the natural result of performing someone else's interpretation instead of their own. Casting directors pass on actors they genuinely liked because someone else happened to fit better for this specific project on this specific day. Think about it like ordering at a restaurant. If you order beef, did you reject the chicken? No, you still like chicken. I mean, well, maybe, if you like chicken to begin with, but that's not the point. Today, you wanted beef, and that's it. Casting works the same way. They picked someone else. That doesn't mean they rejected you. It means someone else fit better. Maybe next week they're craving chicken. Now here's where it gets interesting. See, researchers at UCLA put people in an fMRI scanner and had them play a computer game where they got excluded. Basically, digital rejection. And what lit up in their brains? Well, the exact same regions that activate when you experience physical pain. Rejection doesn't just hurt emotionally. Your brain processes it like a punch to the gut. In fact, and I'm not making this up, a later study found that Tylenol actually reduces the sting of social rejection because your brain literally can't tell the difference. So when you feel hurt after not booking, that's not weakness, that's biology. And hey, maybe a Tylenol will help, right? Your brain is wired to treat social rejection like a threat to survival, which was helpful when getting kicked out of the tribe meant dying alone on the savannah. Less helpful when you're sitting in your living room reading a thank you for your interest email. You want to know who else wasn't good enough though? Sidney Poitier. He auditioned for the American Negro Theater in 1945. The director grabbed him by the collar, walked him to the door and said, "Stop wasting people's time. Go get a job as a dishwasher." Poitier spent 6 months listening to a $13 radio to eliminate his Bahamian accent. Then he went back and offered to work as the theater's janitor just to study there. He was the first black actor to win the Academy Award for Best Actor. Harrison Ford, he was under contract at Columbia Pictures, and the head of their talent program told him he had no further future in the business. Ford quit Hollywood and became a carpenter. He was installing a door at Francis Ford Coppola's house when George Lucas noticed him, and that's how we got Han Solo. Bryan Cranston, AMC didn't want him for Walter White. But the network couldn't see past the dad from Malcolm in the Middle. The role was offered to John Cusack and Matthew Broderick first, if you can imagine. But they both said no, thankfully, and Vince Gilligan had to fight to get Cranston the part. That became one of the greatest performances in television history. These weren't flukes. These were actors who got told no by people who were wrong. But here's the part nobody talks about. The most dangerous rejection in this industry, it doesn't come from a casting director. It comes from you. Research shows the most common acting career length is 1 year. One. Not because people get rejected out of the business, because they reject themselves out of the business. They stop submitting, they stop auditioning, they convince themselves that they're not good enough before anyone else gets the chance to decide. A third of SAG-AFTRA members are classified as inactive or withdrawn. That's about 50,000 people who joined the union, who did the work to get there and stopped. And right now, we talked a few weeks ago about how the industry isn't dying. The money actually grew, but it reorganized. Work moved overseas. It moved to regional hubs. It moved into new formats. The overall spend went up, but the specific roles most actors are used to auditioning for, well, those got scarcer. Streamers are casting established names for parts that used to go to working actors. So the auditions you're seeing, there are fewer of them. And when you're getting 4 auditions a week instead of 4 a day, every single no lands harder. That's when the spiral kicks in. Fewer opportunities, more weight on each one, bigger sting when it doesn't land. And your brain starts whispering, maybe I'm just not good enough. That's not rejection, that's self-rejection, and it's the only kind that can actually end your career. So here's what I want you to hear. Rejection in this business is not a verdict on your talent, it's a selection process. Sometimes you're what they're looking for, sometimes you're not, and that's the gig. Your job isn't to avoid rejection. Your job is to stay on enough menus often enough until someone orders what you're serving, and to not take yourself off the menu before they get the chance. Cranston said it better than any time I can. He used to walk into auditions trying to get a job. Then he realized that wasn't the point. The audition isn't a job interview. It's a chance to create something. And if they want it, great. If they don't, you still did the work, and the work is the thing. The only rejection that ends your career is the one you give yourself. Hey, you want to go deeper? Well, I wrote more about this at gary-mason.com/blog. The link is in the description. New myths busted every week. Hit subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.